Good evening. We are live on the Believe in Monsters podcast. It's a winning week for your Chicago Bears. So let's jump right into it with your fellows, Chris Krogman, Lucas Berry, and I am Joe Gaither. You listen to us, the Believe in Monsters podcast, each and every week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon. We're a proud part of the Believe Network, or you'll find us on the YouTube channel at Believe in Monsters Podcast. The Bears defeated the Los Angeles Rams 24-18. Caleb Williams throwing for 157 yards, but the Bears were largely in control of the game flow. So things worked out, and the Bears are 2-2. So we got a lot to get into. We will debut a new segment straight from the mind of Chris Krogman. You follow him at Shy Bears 1985. You follow Lucas Berry at lberry_40. I am at Joe Gaither 6. So we'll get the new segment in a little while. But first, Chris Krogman, how we doing?
Good. Victory Wednesday. We're a few days behind, but that's okay. We're still excited, still pumped up, got a dub. Like you said, controlled the game most of the time. Defense played really well, got some turnovers. Yeah, very exciting. Lucas B.
Yeah.
40.
I'm doing well. This might have been I know the Rams obviously weren't at full strength, but this might have been the best coach so far that Eberflus has beat. I mean, I guess he beat Belichick too. Anyway, good win for the Bears. Nice solid win.
Game of the season. Continue.
Yeah. I wasn't sweating it too much. I thought the game plan makes sense. It normally makes sense when you win, right? Things look good when you win. And it seemed like they just kind of beat the Rams on fundamentals, took the short little passes, took what the defense was giving them, and they actually drew up some nice plays on offense, or at least blocked them well on these simple concepts to give Swift some space to run. And they just executed doing little things well, which is great. I don't really care as much about the final stat line of Caleb throwing for 154 because he was efficient in that 154 and for the most part looked pretty good. And like Chris alluded to, the defense once again just coming up with timely takeaways, timely sacks. Pretty damn good unit, if I do say so myself.
Unit. Pause.
And I think we saw Eberflus blitz a little bit more than he traditionally does, which I was happy to see. I think he dialed some things up that helped get that game-sealing pick at the end, which was nice.
Loose. Yeah, they got things handled. Bears, let's see. Where's my little stat tracker right there? Box score. No, I want team stats.
Yeah, how many yards of offense
total,
do they have?
264 to the Rams, 322.
Thank you. Yes.
And the passing yards were Rams 203, Bears 133. Rush yards, Bears were 131 to 119. Yards per play, Rams 5.6, Bears 4.9. Rams had more first down, were more efficient on third down, ran more plays.
What was the time of possession?
Time of possession was almost exactly even. 31 Rams, 29 Bears. But they lost the fumble and threw a pick.
Yeah. They lost the turnover battle.
Yeah,
that's the biggest difference right there. Our man Caleb Williams protecting the football. So, how do we want to do this episode? Because we didn't exactly hash it out in pre-production. We have the new segment, which we will debut the name when we decide it. Let's do that second or third here. We want to talk about Caleb Williams and his performance maybe, or we want to talk about where the team is, or just kind of break down instant reactions from the Rams game. How about we start with that? Reactions to the Rams game. Chris, you want to start us off?
I feel like the game overall was better. There was a better offensive game plan, get Swift going, and that worked well. They seem to have somewhat of a plan to keep Caleb upright and not throwing as much as he did the week before, which was good. There wasn't as much Roshan as we were told, but he still scored a touchdown. And we saw an interesting play with Doug Kramer in the backfield as the fullback. So that was exciting that they just decided to run it down their throat instead of
God's play.
run a freaking what?
Flus called it God's play.
Interesting.
He
needs divine intervention to make better play calling. I'll tell you that.
Did you see Kramer flatten that dude though? He actually got on both his blocks. He had 2 pancakes. The one in the end zone, he ran straight through the dude, and I think he ended up on the ground, and Roshan ended up falling on top of him. But then when they ran the same play to get the third down, he completely demolished the D end, completely flattened the dude.
It doesn't have to be fancy. You just get the job done.
Yeah,
just line up.
He looked quick, man, and we were wondering where Kramer was. They were saving up for his big debut at fullback.
Yeah, just line up and hammer their asses. Don't have to be that fancy.
Yeah, I don't understand why Kari Bloss-Game is even on this team.
He was healthy. I think he was a healthy scratch, actually.
He was a healthy scratch. I still, again, don't really understand it because he doesn't really use a fullback, Waldron. So maybe we don't see him play any more snaps for the Bears. I don't know, but he's a special teamer too, so that's what's kind of weird. Overall, I like the offensive game plan. Defensively, there were good things, right? There were some takeaways. Montez Sweat made a massive play, although he doesn't show up all the time, but when he shows up big. Brisker had a hell of a game.
Finally.
And it's unfortunate that he didn't reestablish himself on that first interception, give up those 3 points. But the bend don't break. It's just getting annoying. I don't know. They give up yards upon yards upon yards, and then they don't let people score, which is great. I think I was looking this up a second ago. They are 10th in opponents' red zone scoring percentage at 45.45%. So, and they're top 10 in most defensive metrics. So still fine, still going well. I just don't really like watching the defense have to be out there for a long time until, they either make a mistake or, throw a pick or whatever. Lucas, how do you feel about the defensive game plan?
No, I mean, I'm right with you. It's frustrating as hell to watch because you're just watching a lot of offenses. I mean, the Rams, again, trotting out. They have McVay as their coach, obviously, but they're trotting out, Whittington as their wide receiver 1 and Tutu Atwell. And you're giving up, 15, 20, 25 yards a play to these guys. And then just, I'm not going to say praying they make a mistake, but your philosophy is essentially give them all these yards, and then eventually they're prone to make a mistake if you make them run so many plays, once they get in that red area and settle for 3. But, I just think better offenses are going to exploit that down the line. And I think we have seen this defense that happens sometimes when they play better teams. But all in all, I mean, you can't really argue with the results. They only gave up 1 touchdown that game and all field goals. They did get Stafford to make some mistakes, and they even got a missed field goal out of it. So I guess when the offense is scoring, it doesn't really matter. But I don't know. I just think it's not sustainable versus better teams. But all in all, I mean, solid defensive performance, and they're a good unit.
The entire structure of this defense is predicated on pressure from the front 4. I mean, that's been the defense for, going all the way back to Lovie Smith and Tony Dungy. And if you're not getting that, which, we'll talk about, one guy later doing his job. But, yeah, I mean, I think Taylor was a great pickup in good trade for a 6th rounder. He had some pressures. Sweat had his pressures. So I think if they can continue to mature there, I had a thought when is Zach Pickens like alive and well, or is he ever coming back, or do we know what his injury status is?
I honestly don't know.
No, I don't know either. I was
I feel
wondering.
like I haven't seen or heard from him. I've seen him on the injury report a lot, and that's been that.
All right, I'll look it up.
Well, Chris, I was actually going to I was thinking exactly kind of what you said. This defense does rely on pressure from the front four, and like I said, Eberflus has been getting more creative with his blitzes. But I do think until they really, really, really have some extremely top-end talent on that D-line, this is just going to kind of be the way it is, and you're going to hope that your secondary can make some plays. I think the Bears have made some significant steps toward getting better on the defensive line. I think they were obviously one of the worst D-lines in the league to now they're probably middle of the pack or so, and obviously we have some guys developing, but they don't have that that Chris Jones or TJ Watt on their line like these other teams have, that just completely blow up game plans and get to the quarterback whenever they want.
But
no, they don't.
Game plan, like you are. So far, they have been able to keep everything in front of them. Yes, it's been frustrating to give up the big chunk play, because part of what they're doing is using the end zone and using the condensed field, using the back line to help, force these turnovers, to help force these stops, force them into field goal attempts. I think right now, Luke, you kind of just hit on it. It is what it is with these guys. You're a little bit deficient, so you're going to have to kind of, play a little bit give and take strategically and say, all right, we're going to give up these chunk plays, but when you get down inside the 35, when you get to the 30, the 35, 40, we'll be able to we'll have to defend so much behind us that we can actually get after you a little bit.
It also helps when your punter can put the ball inside the 10-yard line multiple times in a game. And we were talking about this in the offseason, but, you can credit Taylor.
Stop jumping ahead.
It just reminded me because Joe's talking about the condensed field. It's the same thing. You got to condense field the other way.
Defense.
Of course it does.
That's an offensive weapon.
You don't think Stafford being
an offensive weapon?
The goal line at the end of the game had him rattled, dude.
CT19. No, Joe. Actually, to your point, that's a really good point. Because what's wild is when they're getting these giant chunk plays, there's like 4 Bears right there. So Stafford is fitting it into a really. I mean, he's a good quarterback, man. He's probably. You think Stafford's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah. Maybe
I would put him in there, but some might argue that.
Second ballot. There, I don't think he gets in on one.
I think he's better than Eli Manning, but Manning has more rings.
Well, Manning also had a lot better team around him, I think.
I'm just saying.
A hell of a defense. No, for sure. No, I agree. Anyway, no, Stafford's a great quarterback. McVay's a great offensive mind. He's scheming open Tutu Atwell and Demarcus Robinson and these guys that are, picked up off the heap. And I guess, Shane Waldron is supposed to be a leaf off of that tree, but he's not. Anyway, I don't care for the bend don't break only because it keeps them on. If the offense is not moving the ball, not possessing the ball, they're on the field a lot more, and that historically has been a problem for the Bears.
Sure, definitely.
But, going back to some data points, Bears are right in the middle of the pack for time of possession in the league. I mean, they're 18th. They have the ball 50% of the time, and the opponent has the ball 49% of the time. I mean, it's dead freaking even. So, I mean, I guess if that's that's how it's going to be, and they're going to get turnovers and everything, that's awesome. So let's see here. Where's the turnover statistics? So they're +5, plus a half a turnover a game, which is good for 6th in the league.
They're +2 this past week.
Two takeaways a game, which is 3rd in the league. They are 1.5 giveaways a game, which is 22nd. So that's, they're winning the turnover battle. Not by much, but enough.
Well, I was personally really happy with the game because while you guys are both right, it was very simplistic from the offensive standpoint. And we just kind of all kind of been talking about the bend don't break defense. To me, it looked like a semblance of a jointed offensive and defensive and special teams. Really, the first time this year that you have seen a jointed three-phase plan where you're not all putting all the pressure on the defense in week number one to score you defensive touchdowns on Will Levis. And then, it just looked like a total team effort for the first time. And while some of that can be attributed to the Rams and their attrition and their injuries, it is a positive sign with where the schedule is. You get you a favorable matchup this coming up week. You're looking at maybe 2 weeks from now with the Jaguars might be a favorable matchup as well. Like, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but at least
That's
right
what
here.
scares me, Joe. That's what scares me about this week, man. They're thinking about going to London Monday morning.
Right.
You got to beat the Carolina Panthers, man.
Exactly. And the Panthers taking that, what you did on this past Sunday, you just need to build off of it by 10%, expand off of it by 10%, and that should beat the Panthers. Play solid football. We'll talk about some things to work on here in a little bit, but like, it was the first sign of real complete football, three-phase football.
Yeah, Joe, I totally agree with you, man. The offense, defense, special teams finally worked in unison. They come out with the big dub. Defense got the takeaways when they had to. What did the Bears have on offense? I mean, flipping the side of the ball here. I think they had 2 drives over 70 yards where they marched right down the field. And I think they scored touchdowns on back-to-back drives, if I'm correct, if my memory serves me right. Does that sound accurate, Joe?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry. I was reading a tweet. Touchdown on back-to-back drives.
The Bears scored 2 on 2 70-yard drives in that game back-to-back, right?
Yeah, we can tell you right here our scoring summary. Yeah, Roschon Johnson touchdown run in the second quarter, 3 plays, 16 yards. And the next drive was a field goal drive, 8-play, 45-yard drive. You have a touchdown drive at the end of the third quarter, 12 plays, 74 yards.
Yep.
And then touchdown drive really to kick off the second quarter. Yeah, the next Bears drive, 5 plays, 70 yards. 36-yard DeAndre Swift touchdown run.
Right. Yeah. So they had 2 drives where they went over 70 yards.
Back to back.
And
You're right.
They got people say they're toward the bottom of the league in explosive plays, but I think this game goes to show you don't always need to throw the bomb to get these explosive plays, right? If you're opening up holes to the running back, if you're just playing assignment sound football on short passes and giving the dude room to run, that's why you paid him all these millions of dollars, and we finally got to see, what DeAndre Swift's worth is. And we do have to give our man Chris Krogman credit here because he called this last week. He said his bold prediction was DeAndre Swift gets in the end zone for the first time this season. Chris, you're in the champion circle. You going to dump milk on yourself?
I got I appreciate the flowers. You can save them for my funeral, so I do appreciate that. Look, they paid the dude a shit ton of money. He's not going anywhere. They're not going to go to the Roschon show, which, they said they would. And then they said Khalil Herbert was the goal line back. And that's not true either. Swift was used how he should have been used this whole time. And that's great. Love it. Love to see it. Did I say 100 yards or end zone shot? End zone shot. Appreciate that.
Yep. And his touchdown run was between the tackles, wasn't it?
Yeah, right up the gut.
Right up the gut. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like you ditch the outside zone stuff, start running up the middle. And Matt Pryor, who I don't think is a great player, he did well on that, and Cole Kmet smashed his dude, and it looked great. Now is this worrisome that the Bears offense looked worrisome, or coincidence that the Bears offense looked significantly better running the ball and Tevin Jenkins wasn't on the field? Bears couldn't do anything first half. Jenkins gets hurt. Boom. They're magically running like Walter Payton out there.
I didn't even notice that. That's literally
as soon as he came out of the game, it was like Swift was Walter Payton and Matt Pryor was opening up gigantic. Like, it was crazy.
I mean, who's it worrisome for though?
Tevin on how bad he's been.
That's not a me problem, bro. You know what that is?
I'm just saying, bro.
That's a thank God we didn't pay that man yet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, do you think it's an issue, an actual issue, or is it just coincidence that it happened that way? I guess you guys don't really know if you didn't notice it.
We got 3.5 games of it wasn't, or 3.5 games of it wasn't working with him on the field. So, is it a coincidence? That's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, the left side of the line absolutely sucked until Pryor went over there.
That guy's humongous, dude.
Way too big to be a guard. He's like 6'8".
Nah, that's fine. He's fine. It's fine. He's huge. It's good. He does look like he's too big to be a guard, though.
Hey, we'll take it. If he's opening up holes like that, we'll fucking take it.
So what was the makeup then? Him on the left side and Nate on the right?
Yeah, Nate had to come in right side. It was him and Braxton on the left, and then right at right tackle.
And Coleman Shelton in place.
He had another one of those plays where he just let a guy come right up the middle and demolish the QB.
Fuck him, dude.
Braxton Jones.
I got some issues with these fucking offensive linemen.
There was another thing you called a few weeks ago, Chris. We were talking about it. You said, is Braxton Jones an issue like 2 weeks ago? And I think everyone is just starting to see how much of an issue he is.
Dude, I watched an all 22. It was 4.5 minutes of I think all of Caleb's dropbacks. Every single one, dude, is getting his ass kicked, like just bullied straight back into Caleb.
Right, and it's weird because he doesn't get flat out beat, but it's almost more embarrassing that he gets just pile driven back.
It's not like Caleb's a big dude and can get pushed into. Like
right.
He's elusive, so he can make it work, but like. He's a little dude, man. If they push freaking big ass Braxton Jones on top of him, he looks like J-Web Nation out there. He looks like J-Web Nation and a combination of him and Leno, dude. It's just like, I got some words. All right, let's
kick it off. Let's do our brand new segment right here. We're gonna do it in style called "Bearable and Unbearable." Chris Krugman, what did bearable this weekend?
So bearable for me was the run game improvements, whether that is better play calling, better offensive line mix, better five on the field together. I don't know what you want to call that, collaboration. But I think overall the run game just looked a lot better. Swift looked a lot better. He still has vision issues. Like the screenplay that he did go for like 20, 30 yards, 30, 40 yards, whatever. He went the opposite way of his freaking blockers. And if you see that play on the all 22, it's those two blockers and a bunch of midgets on the right side, and Swift goes left. And now he burns everybody left, but there's like it's a touch. It might be a touchdown on the right side. So I'm not going to complain. We're going to be happy with what we got. We're going to be happy with the improvements, but I think the run game looked significantly better.
Dude, I know exactly what play you're talking about, Chris, and I shit you not. I spit out my beer when I was watching the game because the announcer said, he's not even using his blockers. And me and my brother just looked at each other and started dying. And I was like, because he knew too, because he saw all the videos online of like Swift running into his lineman. And we just gave each other this look and started laughing hysterically. Because I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. He's not even using his blockers. He never does.
Yeah, it's like the guy said it like it was almost like a good thing. Like, oh, he's not even using his blocker. Look how sweet he is. Like, no, man, he's not even using his blockers. And if he would be gone. Jackass.
But that's the explosion.
Good job, DeAndre. We love you, bro. We love you.
You know, that's the explosion
that's
that
how
those
they
offense
need
have
to
been
use
lacking.
That freaking the dump off, it creates so many issues for the defense in that you're getting a talented playmaker in space with the football. You're also making the defensive line think before they go bananas at freaking Caleb. But yeah, that's my bearable. I am very happy with that. That is very bearable. We can do that again. Lucas
Berry, bearable for you.
what is your number one bearable?
Well, one of my bearables was executing dump offs. So, kind of piggybacking off what you said there, I don't want to go too far, just repeating what you said, but I guess this goes more into bearable as in I'm okay with Shane Waldron's dump offs because they're great when they work and you think he's an asshole when they don't because you think he calls them too much. But if you seriously go back and watch a lot of these, it's just like they're missing one block here, one block there that derails the play. But you guys can see how well it works when everyone makes their blocks, when the defense is just giving you that play. They're easy pass yards, and they're high percentage plays, and that can turn into big ones. So my bearable is that the Waldron offense around these dump offs isn't as bad as everyone says. People just got to execute their shit.
I don't mind the dump offs. It's the
tunnel screens.
It's the quick screens with midgets blocking for giants. I don't need DeAndre Carter out there blocking for Cole Kmet.
Right.
I need it the other way around. And speaking of that, Cole Kmet got a flat route and DJ was blocking for him. If Cole goes inside of DJ instead of outside, he's got the first down and probably a lot more.
Yep, that was on the first series of the game. And then everyone's like, Waldron sucks. And I was just like, if the dude has any kind of vision, that's a first down.
Yeah. And then that same play is run later, but I think it's Keenan and DJ. And Keenan darts outside and then cuts back inside and then darts outside again and uses DJ perfectly as a blocker. And it's a nice play. So I'm not so mad at Waldron. It just sucks that you see Kingsbury just scripting up these amazing, leading the league in scoring for 3-4 weeks, and Waldron's just I have a theory, all right, and I think, and this goes back to McCaskey and being a fucking little beta bitch and not wanting to hire anybody with a nutsack. So he hires a bunch of softies who won't nut up and do what they want to do. And he says, okay, I want you to run the ball and play defense. And they're just like, okay, but I want to do this. And then he's like, no. But at the same time, McVay runs the ball. Shanahan runs the ball. McDaniels runs the ball. Why can't we run the ball like that? But I think Waldron's kind of a beta bitch. That's what I think. All these guys are soft.
I just want to. We'll get into it, but I don't know. I'm not holding my breath for what Washington is doing. I've seen this story with Kingsbury before. He's done it at many stops where he plays half the season, his offense looks unstoppable, and then it's he can't coach his way out of anything. It's a reason. Bears fans the 3/4 of Bears fans didn't even want him this offseason, right? So that's a whole other conversation. 2, there's a reason he went from the NFL to college.
I did hear somebody call him fall off a cliff Kingsbury. It'll be going great for a while and then it's just terrible.
It's literally a half season, and this is maybe I'm being a little bit of a hater. I'm just trying to look at it with more of a wider perspective of it's only been 4 weeks and people are losing their minds already. I want to see what Washington does over the next stretch of games. They play Baltimore. They play the Bears. They play some really tough defenses. We're going to see what happens.
We're going to beat them.
We'll be seeing.
He is cliff fall off a cliff Kingsbury. So we will see.
I think that's hilarious. We'll be seeing.
The Chicago Bears are going to beat them.
Joe, give me a bearable.
My bearable is operation in the red zone looked a million times better outside of the last possession of the second half, resulting in a 40-yard field goal. You had some miscommunication with DJ Moore there on that 3rd and 15, but really even that whole last set of that sequence. But all that to say is you're not running speed option on the goddamn goal line. You're under center, handing it to Roshan Johnson with Doug Kramer being pseudo fullback, big, Mack truck going through. It was so much better inside the red zone this week And obviously that was a major difference because the Rams settled for 3 a lot, and the Bears ended up getting a couple red zone touchdowns.
All right,
Yeah, red
Chris.
zone operation was 10 times better.
Much better. Much more appeasing to the eye.
And we have statistics to back you up because the red zone scoring percentage for the Bears on the season is middle of the pack at 55.56%. So that's not terrible. I'm not too bad at that. There's a lot of things that are positives here, and I think Bears fans are just so shook from the history, and I don't blame us. But
and they need to stop comparing themselves to other teams and quarterbacks. It's incredibly dumb.
Like, it's always going to be like the quarterback classes are always going to be compared against each other. It's just going to naturally be a thing.
Enjoy the ride we're on. We're on
We
a good
ride. We need to enjoy our ride. We also need to.
We're 2-2. I don't need Bears
be
fans
happy
after a
with-
win saying, "Yeah, we won, but the Bears still suck because Justin Fields isn't our quarterback, or we don't have Cliff Kingsbury as our offensive coordinator."
The Bears
So
still suck for a different reason, but those are not it.
Well, that's it
All
to
right.
a lot of people.
Chris and I are going to agree on one, but continue, Chris. Are we
Variable number two? Variable number 2, Lucas. You start with this one.
Well, I'm going to bunch mine together, and it's that the two guys I've gave a lot of shit, or not, I guess I gave one guy a lot of shit. I was kind of a doubter, and the other one have been proving me wrong this year. And those two guys are Gervon Dexter, taking a big second-year leap. He has 3 sacks on the year. He's been rushing the quarterback exceptionally well, and he looks like a force in the middle of the interior defensive line. I'm not going to quite go out there and say he's like this elite player yet, but he's been very, very good for the Bears, and he has 3 sacks already, which is sweet. So kudos to you, Gervon Dexter. I doubted you, and you are proving me wrong. The other guy is Ramadunze, who I will say I had questions coming out about how well he could separate and how fast he actually was. Let me tell you, this guy is open all the effing time, and they need to figure out how to make Caleb see him or how to hold pressures long enough to get him the ball, because there's at least 2 or 3 routes every game where he could probably have a 50 or 60-yard touchdown. And I think 2 of them this game, the Rams actually held him, and then Caleb just held onto the ball instead of throwing it away, which was weird. But literally, he burned the guy so bad, the only way they could stop him was jumping on his shoulders. And then the other play, Caleb took a check down instead of hitting him down the seam. But Ramadunze, very good at football. I cannot wait to see the offense start throwing to him deep more.
Yeah, I like Ramadunze. I'm glad that his knee injury or whatever it was wasn't very serious.
Man, he looks fast though.
Yeah,
I'm impressed. I did not think he was that explosive.
Well, and his separation skills are a lot better than people gave him credit for. I mean, he like you said, Lucas, he's got some shake, especially off the line and early in the route. So yeah, enjoying Rome.
That was my bearable package.
Bearable pack. Whoa,
that didn't sound right.
I like that. Oh yeah,
you like his package.
The bearable.
My bearable number 2 kind of still falls in line with the offense. Caleb's accuracy, I feel like, is getting better and better every week. You're seeing some just absolute dime throws. 2 that I liked a lot were the touchdown to DJ. He hung in the pocket, hit him in the back of the end zone right over the defender. And then the best one of the week for me was the dime right over the middle to Cole Kmet right before the DeAndre Swift touchdown. Was just insane. Just dropped it right over the linebacker, right into Kmet's hands. So I'm enjoying Caleb's accuracy improvements.
Joe, what do you got for a bearable?
I think that really it's been nice to see through 4 weeks. I think you can really see a tangible growth in the team and in the offense. I know that there's some negatives, so we'll get into that as well. But like, I think that you have seen the coaching staff, which we've been critical of, which we'll continue to be critical of. And I think you've seen the offensive personnel and the offense as a whole really take each week's lessons and say, okay, here's some big picture lessons. Here's what we can learn. And I think they've applied them pretty well. And so I think that kind of on the point of my first parable with the red zone operation last week's or 2 weeks ago's red zone operation was absolutely abhorrent. This week was much, much better. I think we should take some hope in just that concept as a whole, where that this coaching staff is learning the lessons week in and week out, along with the young team that we have and players.
Agreed. Steps, positive steps.
Now, do you guys have any more positive things to say before we get into the bad stuff?
My last one was Torrey Taylor. You already said it earlier, but absolutely insane. 250 plus yards of punting and 2 or 3 inside the 20, including that 65-yard bomb that skipped sideways out of bounds, and just changed the game. Changed the game right there. Flipped the field big time. Put Stafford all the way back at the 8. He marched down the field, but nevertheless, it was an amazing addition. I mean, and he's psyched to do his job. So yeah, Torrey Taylor is fantastic.
You give a defense a bend don't break defense a lot of room to bend with a Torrey Taylor, and that's nice.
I think we talked about in the offseason where like there's going to be a game or two this year where it's like, yeah, he either won you the game or had a big part in it. And I think we already saw it in week 4 this year, just how big of a part he played in helping the Bears defense there.
100%. 100%, man. Like he had the one touchback, right? But that was close. Like they almost got down there and covered.
They almost got down there. Yep.
Which is just.
He gave his guys a chance to make a play on it too. It wasn't like it just went in the end zone.
Right. The next one, he just checked it up. That was awesome. Any other bearables for you guys? I know you got your last kind of turnover margin point.
Oh yeah, I think that is huge. I mean, in a game like this, when we're evaluating a rookie quarterback, I know we're all looking at what the passing yards. What was it, 154? Is that what I have? 157, and that's not really the best number. And that's reminiscent of some of our games that we saw Mitchell and Justin throw, especially coming off 2 weeks ago where it was 3-something, nearly 400. But you see Caleb protect the ball much better this week. No turnovers, and the defense getting their 2 turnovers. We hit it in the very outset of the show. That probably the turnover margin was the difference. And again, rolling all of our variables, all my variables, I guess in particular, the growth, protecting the football is going to be huge in these games with slim margins.
Absolutely. And I think unlike games past, though, Joe, we had the quarterback that didn't. Normally in those games with those other quarterbacks, the quarterback always did something to severely hamper the Bears' chances.
Exactly.
A horrible pick, an untimely fumble, whatever it may be. Caleb he did what he had to do. He moved the sticks when he had to, and he protected the ball. And we'll take that.
Exactly.
I wish we could score touchdowns off of turnovers, though, instead of field goals. That would have been nice. Yeah, get a sack, fumble, recovery, and then immediately score a touchdown. That would have been sweet, but that's okay. Take the 3.
They'll get there. They will get. I got sneaky faith that they're just going to continue to get better.
I hope so. All right, unbearable. Joe.
Well, I don't want to steal yours, Chris, but my main one is one that was off your list, and it's penalties. And it's just the penalties are way too much. What was it, 10? Is that what I have here? 10 for 10 for 84 yards. And it's not the penalties that you get in effort penalties, a horse collar or, a block in the back or a holding. Like that shit just happens. It's jumping off sides, it's false starting, it's illegal shift, it's delayed games, it's pre-snap stuff, procedural stuff that you still have to clean up. Just that stuff drives me crazy, and that's one of the easiest areas for us to get better in, because if you take away, I mean, 10 penalties, 84 yards, that's an entire drive's worth, right? That's points. That's points that you cost yourself. And so I just think it's a really easy area, a really simple area that the Bears could get better in very quickly, just increasing the self-discipline in some of these procedural areas, having the guys line up, in the right formation, not false starting, just simple stuff like that just drives me nuts.
100%. Absolute joke. I think Sanchez on the broadcast was talking about how some of this is on Caleb just because cadence and things like that, and he's got to own the pre-snap penalties. He's got to get his team on the same page. So hopefully it's just a procedural issue, and they'll continue to get smoother as the year goes on. But they're killers, man. They're fucking killers. So that was pissing me off. The whole game is just the horrible penalties. So yeah, that was also my number one unbearable. Cannot stand that shit.
There was some, not to minimize the point, but there was some ticky-tack shit in there too that the refs were just calling. It was like, what the hell?
True. There was Brad, what is it? It wasn't Brad Allen because they messed it up on the broadcast. Brad Jacobs or whatever the ref was, man, he was on TV way too much. Like he was calling a lot of penalties. So that was not great. Not good. But my unbearable number 2 kind of has to do with the penalties. Most of the bad penalties were on the offensive line. And the offensive line has been a topic of conversation across all of Bears Twitter and Bears fandom, mainly on the interior. But my beef is with Braxton Jones, who just gets his ass kicked on a daily basis. Jared Verse, a rookie from Florida State, was just knocking Braxton back into Caleb the entire
with one move.
With one move, just a bull rush. He was just bull rushing him all the way back every single play. So not good, not fun, not cool. Wasn't having a good time with that. I think I texted you guys halfway through the game. Can we see Kieran Omagaji at some point? Just because Braxton's not getting it done. And I honestly don't know, because now, I mean, they're both Poles' guys. So who knows?
Yeah, they've got to be having some tough conversations in there. And, I don't want to be looking to next year already, but I'm already looking forward to how many linemen they'll replace at the end of the season. Because, man, it's tough to watch. And I think, you'll look at this and be like, yeah, they gave up 4 sacks, and it was probably one of the cleaner games the offensive line has played all year, sadly. So it's like, what the hell, man? You gotta keep the quarterback clean. Yeah, Chris, that was definitely one of my unbearables this week. I mean, like I said, I mentioned it earlier. Tevin has been downright horrible this year. Coleman Shelton is an embarrassment of a center, and Braxton's just getting his ass kicked. Darnell hasn't looked himself, and Nate Davis is Nate Davis. So they need to figure that out.
So many fluffy pussy motherfuckers up on the offensive line.
My number one unbearable from this is DJ Moore, though, man. I don't know why or where this attitude he got came from. I mean, they just paid him. I understand he's dealing with another rookie quarterback, and he's probably a little frustrated, but it's what he's getting paid millions to do. He signed the contract knowing Caleb was the quarterback. Like, if he had that big of an issue with it, don't sign the contract. Go somewhere else. Don't take the money, and don't take the money if you're going to sit here and pout and not give effort. And I love DJ Moore, and I never thought we'd be having this talk, but there was a few plays on there where his guy needed a block, and he's just straight walking on the field, like just straight walking in the background when there's a guy running behind him, and he's just like lackadaisically walking across the field like he's going to the sideline. Like, don't do that shit, dude. They're not going to throw you the ball if you give that kind of effort, and that's got to come down to coaching too. That's just downright unacceptable.
3 catches, 22 yards, 1 touchdown on 6.
I'm not even talking about the stats, Joe. I sent you the play. Do you know what play I'm talking about?
Chris Krogman, what do you think?
It was one of the dump offs to Swift. Did you see it?
Yeah. What do you think about him at the podium, Chris Krogman, saying, oh, if he hadn't have gotten back my way on the touchdown, we might have had a problem?
He said that?
Yeah, he was describing his out view, his perspective on the play, and he said, I was either the 2 or the 3 on the play, but I thought when we lined up that he should be getting back to me because I had that linebacker matchup. And he said, and thankfully he got back to me, or else we would have probably been having a little. And he kind of faded out on it, but it was kind of like, oh, we would have been having a little.
Different conversation is what he said.
Yeah.
His attitude's not good. His body language isn't good. Like, it's not good.
Heck, man, we love you.
It's been not good. And like, to your point, Lucas, like Bears fans on Twitter saying that he wants to play with Justin Fields, and you should have went and played with, like, you shouldn't have signed here. And you signed a pretty solid deal. I mean, a pretty team-friendly deal. It wasn't an exorbitant amount of money. So I don't know what you were thinking, DJ, but he's usually a very positive person. And I've heard other, Hogan Johns were talking about it being not that big of a deal. But to me, man, he's had an attitude problem for a few weeks now. And there was a video I sent you guys of him essentially like by himself on the sidelines after every offensive series, not talking to anybody. But there was another report that Caleb went up to him after one of the series and talked to him, and they were hashing shit out. So I don't know what's going on, but they need to figure it out because it's not a good look.
The unfortunate thing about this is he's been on some pretty shitty teams, and this is probably one of the better teams he's been on in his career. Like, you're 2-2.
Has a chance to
get better. You're not the MVP of the team, but you're obviously an important piece, and they'll come back to you when they need to. Like, I don't know. It's strange, it's weird, but he's gotta lose the attitude.
And this team has a lot of room to get better.
Absolutely.
He can be a part of it.
I get being frustrated with all the quarterbacks he's dealt with and whatever, but it's only been a few weeks. You're going to get on the same page eventually, and just you got to be there to support your guy. You can't be giving him that kind of attitude and shit.
100%. Not happy. I don't like it. GJ's attitude's no good.
Like, and another thing that's kind of stuck with me is I remember during the Texans game, there was a moment when Caleb, I think, was after one of his picks he threw. Keenan Allen wasn't in the game, and he pulled him aside and was talking to Caleb. And then there's literally DJ in the same shot, and he's just like pouting on the bench in the background. Like, really, dude? Like, this is the night and day difference about the guy they brought in to help Caleb and what you're doing.
Yep.
It's not cool. And I don't think he is like that. I don't know what's going on. Now, to get to one of your unbearables, Chris, they need to figure out a way to use DJ better and get him the ball more and design more shit for him because he's too talented to only be getting 3 catches for 20 yards.
100%.
He should be getting 6-7 catches a game for sure.
But I will tell you guys what part of the issue is. They brought in, ancient Keenan Allen, who I love dearly, but that's his thing. He's a middle of the field guy, and those slant routes and get your thumb out of my screen, Joe. Those slant routes and them crosser routes, those are his routes now, where DJ used to get those passes, and DJ is very good across the middle. They have, I don't want to say they have an overabundance of wide receivers, but they have an overabundance of the same type of wide receiver on the team. So they're kind of forcing their hand. Joe, at this point, I don't care. Develop the quarterback. If one guy gets 2 targets a game and the other guy gets 10, I don't give a fuck. If the quarterback's getting better because of it, good.
DJ's better than Keenan Allen.
Sure, but I would still rather have both of them than just one of them.
At this point in his career, he is. But I would say as a body of work as a whole, Keenan's much older. He's been phenomenal for a lot longer. But if you're gonna have this kind of attitude, it doesn't matter anyway. I mean, this is somebody needs to get with that dude and get his shit together. But they do need to use him better because he's. I don't know what the plan is, but I mean, this kind of goes back to Waldron again, and the comments that JSN said on Hogan Johns like during the Super Bowl. Like basically like saying like good luck. Like good luck to you. He doesn't know what he's doing or whatever. And I know JSN was very upset with his usage last year and how they tried to use him. But I don't know. It's week 4. We won 2-2. Got an easier schedule coming up.
You want to talk about the Panthers?
Sure. We're going to kick their ass.
They suck dick.
They're not good.
I'm not buying any of this Andy Dalton shit. I think we're going to I do think this will be the Bears' offensive coming out party.
Bears, 4-point favorite. Hammer them. Home favorite.
He's down to 4?
41.5.
I think it opened at 4.5.
Says it opened at 5.5.
Well, like I said, it's going down.
Because they don't believe
people like to bet the Panthers for some reason. I don't get it.
They don't believe in it.
Because Dalton's fun. He's a fun story and whatever, but they're not good.
It's funny because like
the
offensive stat comparisons, like the Panthers, this is pitiful, have 4.8 yards per play to the Bears 3.9 yards per play. They have 0.303 points per play versus the Bears 0.3. I'm just their red zone scoring is 60%, which is nuts. They must not be in the red zone very much. But the defensive stat comparison is all Bears.
Are they turning the ball over a lot?
I don't have that. Give me 1 second, please.
Because that's what it seems like to me.
Oh my God. The opponent's red zone scoring percentage for the Panthers is 91.67%.
Holy shit.
If you get in the red zone, you are pretty much guaranteed to score against the Panthers. They are not good. Their average scoring margin is 2 touchdowns. They're losing by 2 touchdowns a game.
All right, so
they are giving up 32 points a game. Oh my God.
Here are my thoughts on this quickly. There's 2 games of tape now of what Dave Canales wants to run his offense with Andy Dalton out there. So the Bears will have that to work off with. The Panthers' offensive line is the strength of their offense. They're pretty damn good. They will protect the QB, and they're very good at run blocking. But I would say one of the Bears' biggest strengths, I think, is going to be not letting them establish. I think the Bears can win this by giving the Panthers some loaded boxes, making Andy Dalton rear back and try and beat them. And I think Deontay Johnson's like a nice wide receiver, but he also hasn't faced a cornerback like Jalen Johnson yet. So literally, I think if the Bears take him out of the game and they make Dalton throw to Leggett and Mingo and whatever the hell else they have there, they're not going to be. Yeah, I'm saying if Jalen Johnson takes out Deontay Johnson out of the game, like game over.
It's game over anyways.
Joe, my biggest fear is that they're looking forward to the London game and that they're leaving early next week for it. Literally, that's my biggest fear. If they
lose on my birthday, I'm gonna be so mad.
if they prep for this game and get up for it, I think there should be no reason they don't beat the shit out of the Panthers from the jump.
Caleb Williams, all I want for my birthday is to win. I don't care how good or bad you look. Just win the game.
He should look good this week.
He should look good this week. It should be a celebration of 4 weeks of work.
Should be a celebration of all that shit the Panthers gave us. And maybe a little DJ Moore revenge. Take your anger out on him.
Feed that man. Feed him like 12, 14 targets.
What do you think, Chris? What's your gauge on this? Me and Joe are saying walk in the park. Do you agree or disagree?
I just don't want to overlook them. I mean, if it was Bryce back there, I'd feel a lot better.
Still
it's funny.
Dalton, though.
I get it, but I mean, Deontay Johnson's the kind of wide receiver we don't do well against. Like that short, shifty, route running wide receiver, we don't really do well against. And if their O-line can hold up, and Chuba Hubbard's been running the ball pretty well. I don't foresee us losing this game by any means, unless they're just overlook it. But I don't want to lose to the stupid Panthers. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's gonna make me really upset if they did. I think that I would view that as a huge black eye, a huge step back for the coaching staff.
Absolutely. If they can't stop Andy Dalton and that team, I mean, I don't know. Leggett is their first rounder. He had a good game last week. He's starting to come on and as a legit wide receiver. And I mean, Dalton can get him the ball. So, I mean, but I'm not worried. Our defense is studs out there.
The Panthers in their resurgence, I think who did they beat? The Raiders. They beat the shit out of the Raiders and the Bengals. Quite literally two of the absolute worst defenses in the NFL. They haven't faced Jalen Johnson, that's for sure. They haven't faced linebackers like we have, that's for sure. I don't know. I just think if they get up and they prep for this game, there's absolutely no reason they should not dominate this team.
Why wouldn't they prep for this team? Prep for this game?
I told you, they're leaving Monday morning for London. So the day after the game, they're flying to London. And they're saying, we're playing the Panthers this week. We're going to London tomorrow. Let's think about that.
But they literally have a job to do on Sunday.
And trap games happen all the time. I'm just telling you, if they avoid that, then they're good.
Do your job, Caleb. And Nate Davis and Tevin Jenkins and DeAndre Swift. You have one job, Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones, and it's to beat the Panthers. Nobody cares about getting to London. If you have to ride on a plane to London, losers, don't come back. Just stay in London. Just stay over there. If you can't beat the Panthers because you're focused on going to England, then go over there and don't fucking come back. We'll hire 53 other players to play for our organization.
Mercenaries.
Exactly. We will find 53 other scrubs to play the rest of the year, and we will reset our franchise with people who care. And on you 53 fucking bastards can stay in England.
All right, Joe, give me your bold prediction. And the bold prediction can't be that they get to stay in England. Bold prediction and a score prediction.
My bold prediction.
By the way, one of us has hit a bold prediction 2 weeks in a row now because we had the Roma Dunze touchdown that Joe got, and we had the Swift touchdown that Chris got. So
this came to me really fast.
Right now, the bold predictions are flowing.
This one
bold prediction versus the Panthers.
I'm taking Jalen Johnson for a pick six, not just an interception, a pick six.
Okay.
And my game prediction: Bears 1,000,000, Panthers 2. Let's see. A real prediction. A real prediction would be Bears. Oh, Bears. 20 Bears 28. Bears 28. Panthers 13.
I like it. I like it. I like it. All right, so 41.5. That's ridiculous. This game's going over. Bears might score 42 by themselves. Bold prediction. 3 Chicago Bears turnovers by the defense. We'll go 2 picks and an Andy Dalton strip sack. And then score, I'm going to go Bears 31, Panthers 9.
Yikes.
They don't get in the end zone.
Yikes. That's a bold prediction by itself.
It's time for an ass whooping, like Joe said. Offense breakout game. Defense does what they do.
Let's do it. Fuck those
All right.
stuff.
My bold prediction of this game is I'm saying Caleb Williams has a passing touchdown of over 40 yards this game. He's going to connect on a deep one. I don't know to who. I think it might be Rome. It might be DJ. Probably not Keenan.
You know,
Probably
it's not
Rome
going
or
to be.
DJ.
It's not going to be Tyler Scott because that guy's never played. And I don't think he. I think
The
he
best
might
wide
die.
receiver since Randy Moss. All
It's
right.
never
Might
going to be
have
Alex Jones.
A
It's not gonna be-
40-yard touchdown pass for Caleb.
not
He
gonna be
finally
Bailey
connects
Jones either.
a deep
I think
shot.
Bayless Jones.
And
Yeah.
my score prediction, Joe Gaither, 27-17 Panthers. I mean Bears. I'm joking.
I hate
27-17 Bears. And it's Joe's birthday Sunday. How about that?
There's no way they're going to score 17 points, dude.
Mercy
No way.
points at the end.
2
It's
touchdowns.
It's 27-10, and the Panthers score a garbage touchdown in the fourth to make it a little bit closer than it was.
No way. No,
Yeah,
sir.
I'll say it's like
Red Rifle.
21 or 24-10. Panthers get the ball in the fourth, they score, and then the Bears ice it with a kick.
Red Rocket.
27-17.
Red Rocket.
Red Rocket.
I do think Canales is a pretty good coach. I'm not going to lie to you. I think he has a decent offensive scheme there.
We should have hired him.
You know, he worked with Waldron in Seattle as his
Never
quarterback's
mind.
coach.
Never mind. He's cancer.
Did you know that, Joe? Some people credit him with Gino's ascension. Other people credit Waldron with it.
Oh man. Well, then we should adjust my score. They're gonna score even less. No, just kidding. Well, let's see it, Dave Canales. Let's see what you got. You benched my man Bryce Young. You better be right.
Dude, did you see that video of Bryce and Andy on the sideline of the last Panthers game, dude?
Bryce, baby.
So cringeworthy. Bryce in his little mousy voice is like, Mr. Dalton, it's time for one of your vintage Red Rifle minute and 20 drive. What do you say? And Andy Dalton would just look at him like, yeah, kid, go get my Gatorade.
Bryce, baby.
He did say something. It was something weird. It was like one of those vintage Dalton 2-minute and 20-second drives. I'm like, when the fuck is Andy Dalton at a vintage 2-minute drive?
Alabama, Bryce, baby.
Oh my God. Do you guys say that?
No, I'm just making this up on the spot.
That was legit. That's hilarious. I would have totally believed if you guys did that.
All right, Joe, take us away. And if we'll win, we might sing happy birthday to you next episode, but we have to win.
Chicago Bears. If we don't win,
You're getting
it won't
cold.
be my birthday. It won't be my birthday. Okay, that's just what it is. Bears, Chicago Bears, bear down, Chicago Bears. Oh my gosh. Put up a fight with the might so fearlessly. Bear down, Chicago Bears. May every play clear the way to victory. We'll never forget the way you throw the nation with your T formation. Bear down, Chicago Bears, and let them know why you're wearing the crown. You're the pride and joy of Illinois, Chicago Bears. Bear down.
Can't teach speed. Reportedly, Hall of Fame wide receiver Randy Moss said of Tyler Scott, this is the best young receiver to come into the NFL in the last 15 years. Oh, really? I mean, wow.